Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. First things first, Palantir establishes another big partnership, an international one. We'll be talking about this here in just a few moments as we prepare for the last trading day for the month of May before the summer session kicks off. Still remaining pretty bullish. We've seen a decent amount of momentum, buying the dip in April. Anybody that got in on there is doing very well. And we've seen the continuation, a positive month for May. One piece of uncertainty that's starting to enter back into the markets is we do have some remarks on what the current status is regarding those trade negotiations with China. On top of that, we also have the federal courts that now we're kind of going back and forth with the appeal on, hey, can Trump impose these tariffs? Can he not? That's being hashed out right now as we speak, which is bringing uncertainty into the market. Where the S&P 500 index sits at is at a decent support level right now. Could be testing resistance here. We're going to be bringing you guys all the information you need to know. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily video. Let's push to 26,000 subscribers and keep this rally going. Now, pop it up on the screen here. Palantir closes at 122.32, down a little bit in the overnight session and in the after hours. Where Palantir specifically sits at right now is at 121. Not a ton of movement. Like I said, a lot of the market and individual stocks are kind of just hanging out right now, waiting for the inflation data to come out tomorrow and what's going to be happening for the last trading day of the month. Specifically, in terms of the market, we see a slight pulling back, even though the broader market does close in the green. One of the biggest saviors, I think, that continue to bring confidence into here, of course, was Nvidia's earnings, which we know now, that came through and really smashed its records and helped maintain the AI boom and the momentum in the market. Looking at Palantir specifically, what their partnership is with Ecuador, an international partnership, saying here they are proud to officially partner with Ecuador's customs agency to combat illegal trade activity and to help revitalize the economy. So Palantir is not just working on governmental contracts, which we know are huge, commercial sector, which we know is expanding, now working with the international sector. Palantir is continuing to be the leader of bringing true utility in terms of software and AI, bringing AI solutions, finding utility for any type of company that wants AI to help benefit their business. Palantir is a leading competitor there. They don't really have a ton of competitors that could really make a large use case such as what Palantir can do. So very bullish on there. Palantir, in terms of its price action, has just been kind of been sitting here at the 121s, in the 120 area. But we had the test to the all-time high, the 133, pulling back a little bit here, but consolidating at the 120s. This is a great zone for Palantir to sit. We've seen some bullishness from some of the big analysts that have been bullish, like we talked about yesterday. Dan Ives from Wedbush calling this a $400 stock, saying in the next few years that this could be climbing up to $1 trillion market cap, just with the unprecedented demand that we've seen within artificial intelligence in itself in terms of the hardware perspective. And with that hardware perspective, software is going to be following right along, and Palantir is at the leading edge of that software perspective. So great to see there. Price action looking well. In terms of what we're seeing in the market, let's talk about the uncertainty. Amit, another content creator, really been killing it. I love listening. He is right to the minute on what's been happening in the market, posting on X here. This is something here that the secretary that we got from Secretary Big Boy B talking here, giving remarks about China negotiations. Listen to this.
What about China, specifically China, and that obviously started in a different place? How can you characterize those talks now?
I would say that they are a bit stalled. I believe that we will be having more talks with them in the next few weeks, and I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and party chair Xi.
So stalled. There was a time when the president thought that it was moving forward pretty significantly.
Again, I think that given the magnitude of the talks, given the complexity, that this is going to require both leaders to weigh in with each other. They have a very good relationship, and I am confident that the Chinese will come to the table when President Trump makes his preferences known.
Okay, kind of saving it at the end there in terms of bringing a ton of uncertainty into the market, saying that they're stalled. Hey, we don't want to hear that. I think we're under the anticipation that these negotiations are actively happening, hoping to come to some bigger deals here soon. But at least he ends with some confidence, saying here, he is confident himself in his personal opinion. China's going to be coming to the table, the U.S. making some deals happen, but right now they're a bit stalled. What that's bringing is uncertainty into the market, especially on top of these. Now we have the federal court. Remember, we saw late yesterday on Wednesday said that Donald Trump actually overstepped his authority by invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose these tariffs. And what we got this afternoon is an appeals court this afternoon temporarily pausing the trade court's ruling that had voided most of the tariffs. So now we're seeing uncertainty about the trade policy, especially with what's happening with China that we got from the secretary saying that they've been stalled for a little bit, at least maintaining confidence. And on top of that, now we have this back and forth that we're going to be sitting here saying, okay, well, who's right? Does Trump have the power and the administration, do they have the power to actually impose these reciprocal tariffs that brought a lot of uncertainty in the first place? Or does the federal court have the power to say, this is wrong and he stepped, over his power? That's going to just hash out in due time here. One thing that we are seeing and how I kind of personally react to this is we know, Trump will come out saying with these kind of extreme things and then he'll continue to walk them back. And a lot of investors and I think the market are starting to realize this right now that, we come out with these big headlines imposing these huge tariffs, but, that's probably what he's calling out to come and walk back with negotiation deals. So regardless, with the tariffs that we were kind of already expecting to be priced into the market and being walked back, I think a lot of that's being priced in. And we saw that with the dip in April and the continuation of the bullishness in May. So I think if for some reason the tariffs were to go away, that would only be beneficial for the market. And if Trump did have the capability, and we're seeing this appeal here, and if it goes through, then it's just kind of back to where we were, and the market was already pricing that in. So I think this is just causing a little bit of noise in the market. Of course, a lot of political noise in the market this year for 2025. But that's kind of where I stand right now, is I don't know how much of a big difference this is going to cause, because we do know Nvidia sparking that global chip rally. We've seen the continuation of that. The market wants AI. We're seeing AI stocks, related stocks, everything related to how AI, chips are going to be improving in terms of their efficiency, productivity. Everybody wants to get into AI here. We've seen the big, stocks from the Magnificent Seven coming in talking about how much they're investing into AI over the next year and what they're doing on their own individual projects. What do they need? They need the chips. So that is where I'm staying bullish on the market, just due to the fact that Nvidia is helping to really lead this race. Short term here, we're going to see, like I said, some noise, some unpredictability, especially as we're going to be waiting for the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, on Friday. And that, leads to say, where's the market sit right now? S&P 500 index sitting at 5,900. Support zone right here at about that 5,900. If we see bullishness coming into the market, we could see a push up to that 6,000. Of course, there's going to be some resistance there, a physical resistance point, and also a psychological resistance point. So if the S&P 500 can hold and support, consolidate at this 5,900 zone, I think that will be bullishness going into the summer months. Of course, if we see a breakthrough support to back down into the 58s, mid 58s like that, that's where we could see more bearishness coming into the market that could potentially lead to a swing of things. But right now, remaining bullish, sitting where we're at, just considering we also have Elon Musk and Trump. They're going to have a press conference tomorrow. So lots of things that'll be happening for Friday. Get ready. And that's all about I have for you guys. Some of the other stocks that we've been checking. Nvidia at 139, sitting at a good spot right here. Looking at HIMS, sitting at 52. We've been keeping track of that. And Tempest, Tempest, remember, they had that big short report that came out, causing a 17% drop in the previous trade session. Actually, a lot of people buying up on this dip here. You can see up about 2.3% at 54. And Tempest even came out with a response saying that, hey, they think that a lot of those accusations and what the short report was saying, they think was not supported. And they said it was all bogus. So we'll see what happens. Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful day.